Hey there, I'm Jen and welcome to GGSP. Coming up on today's show, Will chucks on some snow chains and struggles to drive big trucks through some fresh powder in Snowrunner. And Rad gives new meaning to the term buy low and sell high as she sets up shop in the clouds in Merchant of the Skies. If only we were reviewing a train sim or something, then it would be planes, trains and automobiles. But we're not, so there goes that segue. Anyway, we have a schedule to stick to, so let's pull this show out of the station. Choo-choo! Choo-choo! I'm on a train!
Come on. Come on. Whew, all right, let's drive. Or let's run. Let's snow run, First there was Spin Tires, then Mud Runner, and now the newest installment in the Getting Dirty with a Big Truck franchise has arrived with Snowrunner. As with the previous games, you'll be darting across a bunch of huge rough and tumble maps, completing contracts by picking up various cargo and bringing it to its destination. And as much as that's the main drive of the game, in fact only half an hour in you're told you've learnt the meat of Snowrunner, there's actually quite a few additional tasks to do on each map. When you first arrive, it's best to grab your scout car and, scout. You'll need to drive to each checkpoint to reveal all the jobs on offer. Next, you'll need to finish off some bridges and clear roadways by bringing along the needed supplies. And with them complete, you've got a fairly accessible map to drive around. There's also abandoned trucks and trailers to acquire. Then after all that, you can go about your simple job contracts. And though it does still boil down to hauling a bunch of items from A to B, that's not to say the game is a walk in the park. No. Well, mainly because there's no walking or parks, but also because the game will relentlessly bombard you with obstacles and pain. There are 3 regions split up into 11 maps, each with their own form of suffering. Michigan acts as a baseline difficulty, dropping you in the literal deep end with mud and dirt that'll have you bogged, as well as high waters that will stall your vehicle. Bumping the difficulty up a notch, Alaska introduces snow as well as icy slippery roads. And at the upper end of hard, Taimyr in Russia, I'm literally a minute away from home base and I'm already stuck. It's all about choosing the right tools for the job and having a whole heap of patience. Thankfully, your greatest asset comes free. Enter the winch. It's basically your lifeline when you get bogged down or can't move. You can either pinpoint a location or auto-fire to whatever your camera is facing. Then just rev up your engine and pull yourself forward. Sometimes though, you're 110% stuck. You can recover your vehicle back to your garage free of charge, though you will lose all progress and have to leave your cargo behind. I quickly developed a bit of a trailer graveyard. Snowrunner is not about speeding towards your goal. Each job is basically a puzzle that needs solving, so you'll need to take the time to customize your trucks to best suit the situation. These are my 2 most reliable friends. A scout truck packed with off-road tires and high suspension that I've named Hugh, and also Harold the Fleet Star, who comes with a snazzy all-wheel drive and something called the Diff Lock. But even with Hugh and Harold behind me, tasks are hard. Persistence is key though, because if your truck is still moving, you've probably still got a chance. One mission had me searching for a lost scout truck, so I took Hugh deep into the snow and icy cold water. About 50 winches in, I spotted it, sitting sad and alone. With much trial and tribulations, I got to him. A brother, bearing the same colors and all. I must save you! I fell into a ditch. Not to worry, I swapped Harold in, a sturdier, more grounded truck. It was a slow and painful process, but I got our brother home safe and sound. Completing a task gives you the kind of reward only multiple hours worth of work could bring. It's just a shame that it actually takes multiple hours worth of work and that there's very little monetary reward. The most vital upgrades that would help to speed up gameplay are locked behind either a huge price or a specific level you need to hit. Oh, you want chained snow tires? That'll be level 12 and a stack of cash, please. But without the upgrades, I can't do the jobs to earn the experience to unlock the upgrades that I need to do the job. Snowrunner also has some incredible environmental physics. The way your tires spin up mud and snow, gradually dirtying up your truck, and making dramatic impacts on the terrain. Plus, your horn does this whenever you use it, so that's neat. But despite having all this splendor pouring into your eyes, it all feels a little lifeless, as you rarely have anyone to share it with. Across the entire game, you are the only driver on the road. No other programmed trucks or cars, no NPCs to interact with, driving through the main town with only the distant barking of a dog cutting through your generic country radio. It's really eerie. Having no signs of life made the world feel a little unfinished, and it also made it all too clear that this isn't a game made for Will. I'm the kind of gamer that wants a small-scale adventure, a bunch of cool things that won't take my entire lifetime to complete, because the life of a SnowRunner can be summed up in a single word: long. This isn't my dream game, but with it being so incredibly detailed and full of potential strategy, I know there's a lot of you right now ready to fire up your engines. So with all that in mind, I'm giving SnowRunner 3.5 out of 5 rubber chickens. Now, where did I leave that trailer? It was certainly somewhere muddy.
Welcome to The Scoop! We've got no time to waste today, so let's get stuck into some gaming news. First up, some next-gen graphics glimpses.
This has to be the right way.
Epic Games recently showed off a graphics demo running live on the upcoming PlayStation 5. They explained how the new Unreal Engine 5 will enable things like a dynamic lighting system known as Lumen, as well as a nanite, which refers to the way details, textures, and triangles are rendered. Oh, so many triangles! We also heard about other kinds of motion enhancements and audio tech for replicating real-world spatial sound. Sounds impressive. But as always, the proof will be in the playing when the PS5 eventually releases. Also in the news this week, Terraria's Journey's End update has now been released, and with it comes word from the developers, Relogic, the game is finally complete. This last major update includes a new journey mode, difficulty settings, new items and bosses, and improvements of existing features. Working on the game has been a so-called labour of love for the devs, who now look to their next project, whatever that may be. Moving on now. Attention, Whovians! The studio behind Doctor Who: The Edge of Time VR has announced a sequel. It's due in 2021 and will be available for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, rather than VR. But there's no word yet on whether it will be a next-gen title or not. This is in addition to a new Doctor Who mobile game that's in the works. The 3 games are said to form a trilogy of Doctor Who game experiences. Which reminds me, I really should organise a video catch-up with my Dalek buddies. Oh, they always exterminate this and exterminate that. Oh, we are the superior beings. Yeah, Greg, you are the superior being. You're a good friend. And finally, after rumours swirled earlier this year, Nintendo has confirmed the upcoming release of a new Paper Mario game. Paper Mario, the Origami King, is due out in July and will be the first Paper Mario title on the Switch. In it, a so-called origami plot unfolds as a villain called King Ollie captures Peach's castle. Paper Mario and team must then embark on a crafty quest to save Peach and the world from a filthy fate. The announcement trailer even included a Metroid Easter egg at the end. What could this mean? Now, who's up for an extra scoop? Although PS4 game Dreams does have a Music Maker program, creator Levi Niha has made a so-called pretty good synth, a working in-game synthesizer.
That sounds pretty interesting.
It functions as a controllable 3-oscillator synth and step sequencer, so you can create a digital opus of your own. Oh, soundscapes. Ooh.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's it for the scoop this week. Until next time, see you in the scooposphere. See you in the scooposphere. Could that be my sign-off catchphrase? I like it, but I don't love it. Should focus test it. Do some A/B testing.
Merchant of the Skies is a 2D indie game all about trading, gathering resources, and building your very own trade company in the sky. You pilot an airship which flies between floating islands. Some will have resources that you can collect, while others have small towns that are populated with guilds, markets, and more. Buy some islands, do some clever trading, and you can become a wealthy merchant of the skies. There's a variety of island types, and their placement is randomized each time you start a new game. The map is well populated, and there's a great sense of discovery as you explore and reveal what hides within it. This game gave me FTL meets Transport Tycoon type vibes, all set in a fantasy steampunk world. As your empire grows, you can build on your islands to produce new resources that can then be used to expand further. You'll also need to hire workers to harvest these resources. But it's no use in hiring a bunch of people if you're not also focused on selling these resources, because having employees is not cheap. You can also do quests for guilds or take tourists across the skies to visit interesting landmarks. The gameplay is, in a sense, relaxed and simple. Time doesn't move unless you do, creating a slower pace where you never have to worry about your reflexes. Instead, the tension and challenge comes from being very organized. You'll have many fingers in many pies, trying to keep track of each island's status. Islands refresh stock on different days, trade in different resources, and pay different prices, so it is a juggling act. And while you have a lot of time to think about things, there is just so much to think about that it's easy to get tripped up. Neglect to sell your resources and you'll end up with a glut, leaving your storage overflowing. Forget to manage your fuel, and you can find yourself with a towing bill that can leave you bankrupt. Then it's game over. Thankfully, once things get started, they're a lot easier to manage, though not manage efficiently. However, the game doesn't explain a lot to you, which can be frustrating when you first get started. I didn't know where to click or how most things worked. And if you get stuck, you're on your own, which sucks a little bit. The game throws you into a campaign to begin, which gives you some direction. There's also a couple of other different objectives to choose from and a sandbox mode. But even with the campaign's guidance, you'll need to be digging through menus and figuring a lot of things out for yourself. They say the main campaign is 6 to 8 hours, but I've played more than double that and have yet to finish it. That's because it's so fun just filling out your bases or saving up money and buying a cool ship. And there are some really cool ships, each with different statistics and pros and cons. You also unlock perks as you progress, which can be really helpful and give you that satisfying sense of progression. Plus, you expand trade posts by trading with them frequently, which gives them more goods and gold that you can take advantage of.
This is important because it's no use having things to sell if no one has any money to buy it. And I ran into this problem kind of frequently. But I was happy just exploring, building my company until I had a steady income, and just looking through this cool world with its exciting little mysteries. That's because the gameplay loop is so satisfying. There's 1,000,001 things to do and a decent amount of time to do it. It feels like there's always something new around the corner, and a lot of it is surprising and delightful. One minute you're collecting apples, the next there's a giant chicken on an island laying eggs, and you have no idea why. Or an enormous fish god who's thirsty. Or a singing carrot who gives you loot for being his friend. Or this thing! I have no idea what it is! Amazing! It's a whimsy that keeps me hooked. I just love these types of games. I love the pace and the challenge and that heightened sense of organization and management. This is dense to get into, but once you're in, you might just love it. I'm giving Merchant of the Skies 3.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Okay, it's Ask SP time, and I am ready and raring to respond to some of these superb Spawnling submissions here. Starting out with this video from Tim.
Dear GGSP, my name is Tim and I've got 2 questions for you. 1, could you do a review of Job Simulator? And 2, how can I progress faster in Subnautica? Thanks, bye!
Thanks, Tim. In answer to your first question about reviewing Job Simulator, well, considering that game came out in 2016, it's unlikely we'd review it now. But from the looks of it, it's a colourful, kooky VR sim experience from Alchemy Labs, who also made Vacation Simulator.
Delicious.
Now to your question about how to progress in Subnautica faster. Well, Subnautica is essentially a survival and exploration game. And games in this genre often require you to sink in a bit of time, gradually scavenging, crafting, and exploring in order to advance. There are loads of different approaches to progress, but I can offer a few tips from my experience that might help. I'll try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, but for any GGS peeps out there who don't want to know anything at all about Subnautica, consider this a warning. Firstly, I think it's important to follow the radio transmissions as they come through and explore the areas you're guided to.
This is Life Pod 6. I have a passenger on board. Coordinates attached.
Also, I would recommend staying organised. Keep on top of your inventory management and maybe create little to-do lists so that when you're exploring, you remember your crafting priorities and save time. There is nothing worse than getting back to your fabricator and finding out you're missing that one last bit of copper. Ugh! In general, I also recommend scanning as much as you can and make use of beacons where possible to remind you about places you want to return to. Once you've sorted all your basics, it's worth trying to expand your oxygen capacity, as well as craft and upgrade vehicles, adding depth modules as soon as you can. These will be essential in reaching deeper in different areas, helping you unlock more useful things to craft and parts of the game's story. If you get stuck, try looking through the databank. There are loads of hints for what to do next in there. And while I totally understand wanting to progress fast or getting frustrated at not knowing what to do next, it all takes time. And you've got to remember that's part of the experience of this game. It's okay to take your time. Build a base, settle down, explore those beautiful and sometimes terrifying ocean depths, and unlock Subnautica's mysterious story gradually. And hey, if you get sick of the grind in survival mode, there's always creative mode, which is still super fun. Moving right along now to this next question, and this one comes to us from Ben and David in Canberra, ACT, our nation's capital. Hi GGSP, my brother and me have a question we want you to answer. When will the Nether come to Switch ever? It's important, I think you'll agree. We hope you can answer or risk the disaster of being trapped in the Nether forever. From Ben and David. Oh wow, thanks Ben and David for your awesome question poem. I think I'll get Darren to answer this one though, he'll probably know.
Greetings, this is Darren.
Hey Darren, Jem here. Just a question from Ben and David about if the Minecraft Nether update will come to the Switch. Oh, also, they asked the question in the form of a really cool poem too.
Oh, how delightful! And affirmative, the Nether update is indeed planned for Bedrock editions of Minecraft, including the Nintendo Switch. While early access or snapshots of Nether update features may already be available in some other versions, Switch players will likely need to wait for the official Bedrock launch. I don't believe there's an official release date that's been announced for this yet, but I'm sure we'll hear about it when it's close to being ready. Now, I don't know if you know this, Gem, but I'm actually quite the poetry buff.
Oh, really?
Oh, affirmative. Lasers! Lasers everywhere! And not a noob to zap! Oh, that's famous poet bot Samuel Data Coleridge from Rhyme of the Ancient Processor. Now I want to go peruse my bot poetry database. Oh, bye, Gem.
Okay, Darren, you have fun with that. Okay, bye. Okay, well, I think we have time for one more video question, and this one comes to us from Sienna.
Hey, GGSP. We have 2 questions for you. Can I get Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Wii U, and can I connect the Nintendo Switch Lite to...
Thanks, Sienna. Looks like your video got cut a bit short at the end there, but I think I got the gist. In answer to your first question about whether you can get Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Wii U, well, unfortunately not. There is a Super Smash Bros. Game for the Wii U, which I believe is just called Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. But Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the version that was released for Nintendo Switch. As for whether you can connect your Switch Lite to your TV, I'm sorry to say that no, you can't do this. The Switch Lite is a smaller version of the Switch that is designed to be exclusively for handheld or portable gaming, so it does not include the ability to dock with a television. Sorry I don't have better news for you there, Sienna, but hey, you've got a really cute kitty there to help console you through this console news. Hey? Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up before my puns get any worse. If you have a question for Ask SP, go here and send it in. And make sure it's a video question for your chance to score some awesome GGSP loot. Okay, well now that Ask SP is over for the week, I'm gonna go console myself with some console gaming. No? Okay, never mind.
That was a tasty episode, wasn't it? And after all that yummy gaming, I am full. But come back next week for another smorgasbord of gaming. We'll be looking at the tense, out-of-this-world action of Deliver Us the Moon. And give you our full review of Minecraft Dungeons.
Well, not that one.
But if you've still got room for a wafer-thin bit of GGSP, then make sure to go online and check the ABC Me app for an extra snack-sized serve, where Jem dished up a Let's Play of Pikuniku for your enjoyment. It's nutritious and delicious gaming goodness. But until next time, may all your games be food ones. I mean, good ones. I think I'm hungry again. Rat out.
Jem out.
Will out.